Hello and welcome to Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso, and yes, I am for sale. We all know about the horrific practice of the mid-Atlantic slave trade. That is, a million, hundreds of thousands of African slaves transported by boat across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States, where they were sold as slaves. Modern-day slavery is still going on, and that is that there are private prisons, one in which I'm in, who buy inmates from the federal government. Now, I'm in a private prison, and I'm going to tell you, I'm really conflicted about this because I will tell you, I do believe that this may be a better place to be. The guards fancy themselves as security officers. They actually have security on the back of their shirts, and everything about this whole setup is for profit. This is a for-profit prison. So the food is decent. They give us, they meet our basic calorie needs for sure. Medical, I've yet to really see how that's working out. Again, when I came in here, I said my intent when it comes to medical. I will say that I have talked to psychology. I said recently that I spent 7 hours one day, and the truth is I have now spent probably a total of 11 hours altogether since I've been incarcerated talking to psychologists. And it's been really, on that note, it's been really eye-opening. I've learned quite a bit more about myself. And Marta, real quick, I don't think you even heard me when I called you the last time, and I said that you were probably right as far as a diagnosis of mine. But I won't get into that right now or talk about my situation with Marta as of today, but I'm going to readdress it in the future. Anyway, so it dawned on me, looking around this system, and what we have here is a bunch of people that have come from county jails or from other prisons that are temporarily housed in this for-private prison, and they're either staying here until their sentences are I was going to say met out. I'm having a little trouble with words. I'm sorry. I am. I'm having like a little pauses. But anyway, until their sentences are finished, till they're finished with the court systems, or they're just going from one prison to another, or they're just coming from county jails or the detention centers and going into the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Because the Federal Bureau of Prisons is such a clusterfuck right now. I heard on 60 Minutes that they're 40% understaffed. That was the Correctional Officers Union, I guess, but you can't really trust that. So let's just say they're 25 to 30% understaffed. So there's prisons that are closed down. There's prisons that just don't have the guards to carry out the basic institutional needs. There's a lot of prisons that guys don't go to rec. You can't get programs, dude, just because of the understaffed situation. Well, then they have these private prisons where they send us all to. Majority of us here are addicts. And, of course, like all the rest of the prisons in the United States, it's a joke because here we are. A lot of us are just violators like myself. My sole crime was a violation of supervised release for getting high. And they sent us to prisons where, guess what? Drugs are plentiful, not for free. You got the MAT program, which I mentioned, and I need to do a whole segment about medicine. What's the MAT? Medically assisted treatment or medicine assisted treatment, whatever it is, and they're giving out free morphine. Free methadone, free Suboxone, or whatever. And it's kind of crazy because this is Suboxone, especially, is a drug that I relapsed on from 2013 on and off until 2020. And it is a medicine that's being overprescribed on the streets. And here we are in prison, and I relapsed on this stuff, and here they are giving it away for free now, and it's just fucking crazy. And it's anyway, that's a whole different issue, and I'm going off. But I look around me, and I see all these people, and here we are in a private prison, and we're contracted by the federal government to these places. So you got these private prisons, these wardens, most of them came from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. They're making over $1 million a year. And they're just waiting here for contracts from the feds. They're just like, okay, we'll buy your prisoners, and the feds are like, okay, these guys are for sale. We got an addict in here. We got an addict out of the Western District of Arkansas. He's a junkie. We'll sell him to you over here in Oklahoma. We'll sell one over you here in Ohio. It's just like putting us up on the little, like in South Carolina when they put the slaves up on the boxes and made them stand in front of. Same type of thing. I know that's kind of extreme, and I know people might get mad about that analogy, or but what's the difference? I mean, they're taking people with drug addiction issues and they're selling us to private prisons. That's what's going on. Taxpayers are paying for it. Not that anybody really cares anymore about taxpayer dollars. That only comes up during election cycles when people care about tax dollars. It sounds good. Nobody gives a fuck about it. And nobody really gives a fuck that a bunch of people that are just have substance abuse or addiction problems are being sold to private prisons. And nobody gives a fuck that we're sitting in here, and I say I better watch my language because I'm not. So many people in here are just strung the fuck out. You know what the difference between here and the feds are? They don't really do bottles. Why? Because it's not cost effective to really drug test inmates in here. Why would they? Why would they spend the money on drug testing? And what are they going to do? Put you in the chute for what? What for? Then they would need more staff to house the special housing units. It's all about cost effectiveness, and we're all for sale. They want to buy us as cheap as possible, and our government's just, like I said, we got one here out of the Western District of Arkansas. We got one here out of the Eastern District of Texas. Just like putting us up. We're slaves. We're drug addicts for sale. Nobody cares. And if you really look at it in that light, it's pretty fucking sick. And you know what else? I'm really, really be curious to see how many judges, please judge, that sentence me, I'm not saying you. How many judges out there have stock invested in these prisons, or they don't know, or they're acting like they don't know because their portfolios might have them? Because a lot of these places are on the stock exchange, I guess. So a lot of the judges that sentence us have stock in these private prisons. You can't tell me that they don't. So it would be really interesting. I think there should be laws made that says that they cannot do that, or they at least have to know. So the ones that have all their money in private portfolios where they really don't pay attention, I think they should, because it'd be really ugly to find out that judges are sentencing people on supervised release that just were here just because they failed drug tests and put us in private prisons or profiting off us. I think it'd be pretty fucking sick, and I bet you it's happening somewhere. I know that it happened in cases of juveniles, and I think it was Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, where judges were giving juvenile offenders that should have never been sentenced to do time, but they were sentencing them, and nobody can figure out why until they figured out that they had investments, they had stock investments, or they're being paid kickbacks by private prisons. But that's all we are. That's all. We're just a commodity. We're being sold by the U.S. government into private prisons for having drug addiction or substance abuse issues. So, anyway, does anybody out there care? Probably not. That's just how it is. And, yeah, just thought I'd throw this one out here. So keep working out there so you can keep paying for us to be sold into these private prisons like morons. I'm sorry, but it's true. And it's just sitting in here, if you can just walk in my shoes for a minute and look and see and look around and just look around what's going on. It's fucking mind-boggling, and it's stupid, and it just makes me even like almost at least every week I stop and think about the absurdity of me being in here for dirty urines. Although, and I'll say what I said in court, they were kind of out of options with me. As my judge was fond of saying, they've used all the tools in the toolbox. But I think that toolbox needs to be expanded, and I think that there can be way better than this, than just to sell us to private prisons. And it's not like when I was sentenced I was being sold off, like it was known, but it should be known. It should have been known, because everybody's really coming into these private prisons. That's our first stop. And if people really trace this, and I'd like to one day, but I'd like to do a lot of things one day, I bet you'd really find some ugly bullshit. I bet you'd find people that pass these laws that are saying it's okay, and all these people in private prisons, they're all in bed together. I had a friend that said that private prisons maybe should take over, and they should base it off recidivism rates, meaning they get more money from the federal government if the recidivism rate is less. I understood where he was going with that, and like I said, I'm really mixed with this, because it's almost a better place to do time. And I say that because it's just so laid back. And I'm not knocking the guards that are here at whatsoever, or even the warden. They're actually, I can argue, there's an argument to me they're doing it better than the government. They're doing it better. And the staff treats us better. It's just really a trip. But when you look at the bigger picture and you look at it, especially somebody like me, and I'm just one of, I bet that in this pod that I'm in alone, that at least 30% are just violators, supervised release, probation violators, if you will, that are just here for failing drug tests, simply for failing drugs. And again, I know a lot of that I'm not trying to downplay the significance of addiction issues. I'm not. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not making up excuses, as a lot of you on my channel like to write. My puppy didn't do it. My wife didn't do it. I'm saying that this is crazy. And it's just it would be comical if it wasn't such a shame. Really, it would be. So, and I will say that I'm doing all right as far as my addiction issues go. I can honestly say that I'm not in relapse, meaning I'm not using, but my brain's not there. Even though I've had some setbacks emotionally, as some of you guys know. Put some things out about my wife out of anger that I wish I wouldn't have done, but whatever. I mean, I'm gonna address that again in the near future. First, I got to work on getting my words together better because I'm kind of scrambled. But it's hard from these phones, and it's hard when I've got people right next to me and everything else. Anyway, for profit, addiction for sale. That's what we are. Inmates with addiction problems for sale. Step right up. Buy your addict. Invest in private prisons today. Anyway, take care. Bye.